and saxophonists have a firm concept of how they want to sound. There's an accepted sound. There's a sound that everybody's going for. There's a lot of ways to get that sound, but the concept is the same. With non-classical players, there's no limit to the sound that you may have to produce for somebody. You can listen to jazz saxophone players and there's just every possible variation that you can hear in any kind of music, from quiet to loud to bright to dark, whatever those terms mean. It's harder to make a mouthpiece for a jazz saxophonist that's looking to play really high notes all the time. So let's talk a minute about the purpose of a mouthpiece. What is the purpose of the mouthpiece? Well, for the beginner, it's simply to get a sound. And hopefully, with a good mouthpiece and a good reed and a good ligature, that sound's going to come pretty quickly. And as the beginner goes along, if they have the correct mouthpiece, all they need to do is increase the size of the reed as they get stronger. And I always like to say that if a professional can't play on a student mouthpiece, how can a student? So you want to get a mouthpiece that's as good as any professional would play in the very beginning, if you can afford it, and it's going to cut your learning time more than in half. For the intermediate musician, it's to be able to start to develop a style of playing based on their interests, concept, and preferences. In other words, you've gotten better, you know kind of what you want to sound like, and we want to make a mouthpiece for you that's going to help you get there quicker. For the advanced musician, the idea is to find a mouthpiece that will facilitate the style of music they are playing. That is, to make it easier to play the music they are performing, to be able to adjust to the nuance of the mouthpiece with a mouthpiece maker, to develop different characteristics of sound, brightness, darkness, overtone series, etc., and air potentials. That is, how easy the mouthpiece plays, air angle, and where the kickback starts, and even intonation. Now, what's the kickback? The kickback is as you blow, where the air stops to give you back pressure. Some kickbacks are very close to the tip of the mouthpiece. Some kickbacks are in the middle of the mouthpiece. Some kickbacks are all the way down near the neck. And it depends on the type of musician and their comfort level where they want that kickback spot to be. So that's something that the mouthpiece maker needs to consider too. And it's not talked about very much, but it's something the player needs to know, the kickback spot that they like, so they can describe that to the mouthpiece maker. Seeing a mouthpiece craftsman every few years is a good thing to do. Even if you're handed a perfect mouthpiece, if it's made out of hard rubber or ebonite or some other material like that, over the years, sitting in hot cars, being in funny places, being in temperature extremes, the mouthpiece can warp, because all materials want to go back to their original raw state. So you might want the mouthpiece maker just to flatten the table or redo the mouthpiece to the original specifications that you had. And it's just a wise thing to do. And maybe try some new mouthpieces. You might change your mind about what you like.